It's a lot more fun to sit down here and talk to you guys than it was last week, I can tell you that. So, proud of our guys. Good to get a win.
Ken?
Coach, congratulations. It seemed that the key was the 2 interceptions you got in the second quarter when you're up 14-7, looked like Villanova was driving again. 2 drives in a row, you get the interceptions. How important was that, and what led up to those plays?
Those were critical for sure. And Villanova's a good football team. They've got a lot of good players. They're a very well coached football team. The success that they've had, I mean, they're one of the top teams in that division. I coached in that division for a long time as an assistant coach and as a head coach, and they've always been a team that's been one of the top teams in that division. And I can assure you that's not a team that we felt like was going to be an easy game for us. We knew it was going to be a tough football game. You can see how big they are up front, and so our guys just were very prepared, and I think worked harder at the fundamentals and their keys and positioning themselves where they're supposed to be. And we had a couple times we got out of phase with a guy in coverage, and we were poorly positioned. But I think that was just a result. Those two interceptions of guys just being where they're supposed to be, and not having bad eyes. And we actually had a chance to get another pick and dropped it, but there was one went through our hands down there in the end zone. There was opportunities to get some others. So those guys were in the right place, but just the early parts of the game, it really felt like Villanova was able to move the ball and move it pretty well against us. And they had a couple big plays, but they convert in third downs and those what the interceptions do, it just takes the wind out of their balloon. They've got momentum and they've got a drive going, and all of a sudden they turn it over. And when we can take those turnovers and score, which we didn't, particularly on the first one, it was disappointing we didn't get we had to punt it back to them. But when you can take those turnovers and score, that really shifts the momentum of the game. But we give our defense credit. I mean, they went back out there and they started getting some stops and forcing them to punt, and getting them in some situations that were probably a little uncomfortable for them, and able to keep them off the scoreboard there until they kicked that field goal in the second half.
Coach, just on the first couple of drives, the first drive, Jacoby began and runs 52 yards, and it sets up Tyler's 7-yard touchdown. But then I thought in the second drive, you really got the pitch plays going well timed. You got one play to Tyrell Robinson for 23 yards, Brian Murphy got one for 18, and then Tyhier ran that one in 23 yards. Seemed like you really had the running game and going well.
Jacoby hit that trap play early in the game, and we hit it a couple times. Tyson had a really good run on the trap play. Where we weren't getting the consistent runs inside was we had a 1-yard gain, and then another 1-yard gain, and a 2-yard gain, and we really got this thing going. We get the fullback going, but it gave us some opportunities because they were eliminating the fullback in the option reads to get the ball on the perimeter. And when we got the ball on the perimeter, we did a couple of times make some good blocks and allow those guys to kind of get rolling. And once they get rolling, then it's just pursuit, and the defense has got to run from sometimes a long way away to add to the tackle. So I thought our quarterbacks did a really good job of reading it. There's probably a couple of times where we wish they'd have handed off, or wish they'd have pulled it, or Cody will get those guys squared away on that and look at that. But I know the headphones, there was a couple times where we thought maybe we could have made a little different decision on the option plays. But it was good to see that get going, and I was glad to see our slots get out there and be able to get their shoulders square and get turned and get running. And I think we got pretty good guys with the ball. And Tyrell Robinson, certainly, you watch him on that punt return, he's a pretty talented guy. So it's good to see him get going.
And Coach, after the 2 interceptions that your defense produced, Tyson Riley at the 35-yard run that set up Cade Ballard's 6-yard run. And then to open the second half, Tyson Riley got 70 yards. What about the lift that he gave the offense today?
Tyson isn't healthy. He's not completely healthy. He hasn't been since, probably 2 weeks before we played our first game. Got injured in preseason camp, kind of hobbled through the preparations for Coastal Carolina. Felt better when we went to Coastal Carolina, but he tweaked it again, and then so we kind of had to nurse him back to health to get him prepared to play against UTSA. He wasn't full speed against UTSA, and that showed. I thought he looked better today than he has in the previous 2 Saturdays, but I think there's still, he's still capable of playing faster and playing more physical, and that'll come when he gets healthy. So I was just really proud of his effort and how hard he played, how hard he ran. That one run going toward the scoreboard, he was kind of dipping and diving and making people miss and running through some tackles, and it's a really good run for a guy that's a little bit hobbled.
Coach, final question, just this week, your message to the team. You were pretty animated at practice on Wednesday. What was your overall message to the team about preparing for this game?
Animated is a nice word, Ken. I tell you, you're very gracious. You know that?
Try.
Yeah, I wouldn't describe it as animated, but it's a nice way to say it. I think I'll use that again the next time I get like that. I'm just a little animated. We needed to emphasize playing better fundamentally, not making mistakes that we can control. Foolish penalties, missed assignments, things that have nothing to do with the other team. When we play with poor fundamentals, we play with poor pad level, we take a step that's too flat when we should gain ground, we put our hands in the wrong place, we have our eyes undisciplined. That has nothing to do with the other team. That's our responsibility. It's coach's responsibility to teach our guys, to make sure they do those things, understand the fundamentals, know their assignments. And it's our jobs of our players to pay attention and to listen and to execute. And we just weren't doing that as efficiently as we needed to. And it's little things. And little things grow into big problems. And so it's my fault for not being maybe more animated about some of the little things that we were missing. And just, again, sometimes I gotta draw a line in the sand where, I get a little too animated, and it probably is detrimental. So sometimes they just need to have me be a little more animated, and so I think I got their attention, and we continue to do that throughout the week, and so I was just proud of the guys. I think they know me well enough. They know it's coming from a place of love, that I want them to be the best they can be. I want them to have an opportunity to succeed, and if I allow them to be lax on the little things, that's not going to give them a chance to maximize who they can be. And so that's my job. It's my pledge to them that I'm always going to do that. So I was really happy with the way our guys responded.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Ken.
Go ahead, Seth.
Seth Mendelson, Black Nation. Congratulations, great win. Actually, a fun game too. Always fun when you win. How do you keep the momentum going now? You have 2 weeks to go, you have a week off. How do you keep this momentum that you've built up over the last couple of days maybe going?
If you always believe that you're going to win, and you always believe that you can play your best, and you always believe that the next chance you have to compete, that you're going to be able to go toe-to-toe with that guy and have a chance to win, then you never lose momentum. And so momentum is just believing. This game helps us because we're going to be able to learn from it. We're going to be able to see things that we did well. And we did some things well in the first 2 games. But we did a lot of things poorly. There's going to be things that we'll see on today's film that we did poorly, that we've got to correct. And so this game today will help us prepare for the next game, and that's what it's good for. I'm glad we won. It beats the alternative every day of the week, but there's things to learn, and still a lot of season left, and a lot of things we need to improve on. So our coaches, just as we talked on the phones and as we talked at halftime with our players and went through the game, every time we gather up over on the sideline, we're correcting mistakes. We're praising them, and we're encouraging them about the things they did well, but we're correcting mistakes, because we can't go out there and make another mistake. It might cost us. So there's things we got to work on. And but I don't think our guys lost momentum after the Coastal Carolina game. It didn't affect us in UTSA. There wasn't any hangover. And the UTSA game didn't affect us in this one, because our guys believe that they can compete against anybody we play. Now, with that said, we've got to play really well. And if we don't play really well, then whoever we play can beat the pants off of us.
One more question. That's good. Injuries. Buchanan, what we know how injured he is at this point?
No, the training staff will kind of assess where he's at. Oftentimes when a guy gets hurt, it's like anything. You slam your hand in a car door, it hurts a lot worse in the first 24 hours than maybe it does the next 24 hours. And once we kind of get it to calm down and see what the swelling looks like and see how he responds to them, evaluating it, we'll have a better idea. But the x-rays and MRIs and all those things that are available really help us get a deep dive into what's going on, and we'll do all those things to try to figure that out. So hopefully it's not something serious. We just don't know at this point.
Connor, we'll go to Zoom, just do 2 each quick.
Okay, Joe, you can go first.
Good afternoon, Coach Monken. Congratulations on the win, becoming the second winningest coach in Army football history. First question is, today you guys ran for 470 yards, won the turnover battle 2-0. How exciting was it? Obviously the final score of the game is the thing that matters at the end of the day, but how exciting was it for you to see the team play what's become known as the Army football brand?
I was glad to see us get the turnovers and win the turnover battle. That stat alone has more to do with wins and losses than any other stat in football. 78% of the college football games last year were won by the team that won the turnover battle. So it's a big deal. We lost the turnover battle in each of the first 2 games. We still had a chance to win, but the turnovers certainly made a difference. And so I was glad to see our guys get the turnovers today. And so, I think running the football and stopping the run, the emphasis we put on that, you've seen us play enough football over the years, you know that's our formula for winning. We're able to do that successfully today, and when we can do that and control the clock and control the line of scrimmage, it usually works out better for us. So we're just really happy with the way the guys played, how hard they played, and we're thrilled to get a victory. We're obviously not satisfied with just one victory. We want to get more, but you can't get the second one until you get the first. So it's good to get the first win.
And final question, was a really physical game on both sides of the ball. We already talked about Jacoby Buchanan's injury, but Camden O'Gara went down, I think, Komorowski, a couple other guys. Kind of same status with a lot of them as Jacoby. You got to wait on the tests and everything and see how everything looks, or do we have any updates on any of that?
Como came back in. Komorowski came back into the game, so that was just, they took him out and evaluated him as precautionary. Camden did not enter the game again, and it looks like he's got something that's probably going to keep him out for a little bit. We'll get a better idea of that as we go into tomorrow and the doctors get a chance to look at him. But he got hurt. You obviously saw on TV he hurt his arm. They were holding his arm, and so we'll get that figured out and get him back as soon as we can.
Ken?
Jeff, congratulations on the win. The defense managed to cut the huge gouge plays, 10 or more yards per game. in half this week, and you forced the quarterback to scramble. Can you just sort of elaborate a bit on what the defense did better today?
We tackled better, and that was something we really needed to do. We didn't tackle very well in the first 2 games. A lot of that had to do with the people we were playing. They were very talented. Not that these guys weren't. Just we took better angles. A couple of times we lost contain on the quarterback, and that was disappointing. They had a conversion when the quarterback rushed down our sideline. I believe it was in the first half. They had a long yardage situation, and we let him out. And those are the things that when you got a chance to get a team into a long 3rd down situation or make them go out and punt, we got to do that. We're not going to get away with that against Georgia State. So I was happy that we cut the big plays down. There were way too many of those. We talked about that last Saturday after the game, but we did a better job of that. We had some big plays of our own. That was positive, and a lot of those led to touchdowns and set us up for victory. Really, I mean, the big plays were a huge part of the game for us on offense.
And obviously, Jacoby going down early really kind of changes the tone and the game plan a bit. You've talked about before about playing hurt versus playing injured. Tyson's been playing a little bit hurt. What does it say about his effort today, knowing, did you go to him and say, all right, Tyson, you're going to get the ball a heck of a lot more today, and what do you think about him gutting it out?
Like I said, he's a tough guy. We got a bunch of tough guys on our team, and I think it showed a lot about his character to go out there and play the way he did, run the ball like he did, knowing that he was injured. But he knew when Buchanan went out, he was going to have to carry the load, and he did, and I was really proud of him. So when Buchanan went out, nothing changed. I mean, we didn't change our game plan. We didn't call different plays than we planned to call, or had to flip the game plan card over and say, okay, here's the game plan without Jacoby. We just kept playing, and so as Tyler said when he was up here talking, we had a plan that we were going to run those plays that we ran today, and we were going to try to run them better than we run them all year, and establish the line of scrimmage and knock those guys off the ball. And we were able to do that for the most part. As I mentioned, Villanova did a good job up front. We had some fullback runs where we handed it off to Jacoby or Riley or to Hayden Reed or whoever was lined up there at B-back, and they stuffed us. We had a give play for a yard. We had a power play for a yard. We ran the midline option, and we handed the ball off. We got 2 yards. We got to get more yards than that. So there's still a lot of things we can do better, and that comes down to fundamentals. And so we'll have some good film to teach from.
That's it for Coach Monken. Thanks, everybody.